In fact, when we were negotiating with various companies like Heidelberg and all for our equipment, we used to feel embarrassed to call them to the office. We used to meet outside at some restaurant or some hotel, and then speak to them about what we want to do and how we want to invest. Every day was a challenge. It was some days I didn't want to get up and come to work. I just wanted to stay at home. I didn't want to meet people.
Hi guys, welcome to Ink Stories, India's first podcast for the printing industry. I am Sujit from ASM, your host for this show. Print is everywhere. Can you imagine a place where print is not available? Right from the time that we wake up in the morning till the time we go to sleep, print is everywhere. But do we know the stories of the people who run the print industry? I think not. So Ink Stories is a platform where you can listen to these stories, the success, the failures, the journeys of each of the people from the print industry. They could be a printer, they could be a supplier, they could be a value adder. Let's dive into our first episode. We have a very, very special guest today. Denver Annunciation of Janus International. He has been my friend for 18 years. He's a role model for many. He has had his fair share of successes and failures, but he's at the top of his game today. We had an amazing time shooting this episode. I'm sure you guys are going to enjoy it as much as we did. Before we move to the first episode, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please hit the subscribe button. You can also follow us on Instagram. The link is in the description below. Let's get into action. Hi Denver, welcome to Ink Stories. It's a pleasure to have you on Ink Stories and look forward to hear from you. How are you doing?
All good, Sujit. Thanks for having me, and it's always a humbling experience to be part of anything that the industry needs, and I enjoy doing this whenever I can.
Thanks. That's really nice. You had an interesting journey. I've known you for almost 18 years now. I've seen your journey till the point that you've reached. I'm sure you're going to go places. So many of the people in the print industry have heard about Janus International, the printing company, the machines that you have. Probably not many know about Denver as a person and his story. So we're here to know more about Denver. So look forward to hear your story and share with our listeners on what Denver Annunciation is, what has been his life and how he has reached where he's reached and his learnings. So are you all set? Can we start?
Sure, Sujit. We can definitely go on. My favorite saying is that, we achieved all this overnight, and overnight is 22 years or 30 years. It's overnight success that spans 30 years.
30 years.
Okay. And it's always interesting to get a background, and it's very important for everyone to understand that there is a journey.
True.
And you don't come here overnight.
True.
And if you do reach overnight, the road to the bottom is also overnight. So
true.
It's something that I'm glad you're doing this.
Well said. Thanks for that. And that's the story that we want to take to the larger world. That success doesn't happen overnight, and it takes a while for people to reach where they have reached. So thanks. On that note, we start. I think the first question and the obvious question would be, where did you start? What's been your journey? How did you reach here? If you could share with us in some sentences.
So it all starts in Dubai. My dad was was a chemist for one of the first packaging companies. He's the first chemist in the packaging industry.
Okay.
He was working for Color Carton, and somewhere during that time he had a chance of going to Dubai, to the Gulf.
Okay.
And he went there to fill up a technical place, but when they took his interview, the person told him that you're good at marketing, and that's how my dad started his journey into the marketing field. And we were born during that phase when he was in Dubai.
Okay.
Both Janus and me.
Okay.
And so I initially started my schooling in Dubai. But my dad was always an entrepreneur at heart. He worked for some time, and then he sent the money back here, and he started a corrugation box manufacturing company.
Okay.
So that actually was the first company that was in my name, that was called Denver Packaging.
Okay.
And somewhere down the line, that business was then given to my uncles to manage and run.
Okay.
And we got into printing and packaging under the name of Janus International.
Okay.
It was earlier Janus Flexibles, and then we made it a private limited company and changed it to Janus International.
Okay.
That's the story there. Personally, so I did my initial education, in Dubai.
Okay.
Then for some time back here in Thane, in Mumbai.
Okay.
So the phase that I really enjoyed was when I was in the boarding school.
Okay,
so
you were in a boarding school?
I was in the boarding school.
Which
yes.
one?
I studied at St. Mary's, Mount Abu.
Mount Abu.
Yes.
Oh, beautiful place.
So from the 5th standard to the 10th standard, I was in the boarding.
Okay. Both you and Janus?
No, just me.
Okay.
So I have always been the naughty one and the difficult one. But yeah, I wanted to go. It was a choice I made, not my parents.
That early in life?
Yes.
5th standard?
Yes.
Wow.
So they never forced me.
Okay.
It was something I wanted to do. Probably I called their bluff. And but I tell you, that was one of the best times of my life. I learned a lot there, learned to become independent. I enjoyed that whole phase and that entire balance of life where, it was a mix of outdoor sports, hiking, as well as studies, and that kind of balance which I still apply today, and try to achieve that till today in my life.
But you don't feel that staying in the hostel that early in life, some families feel, some parents feel that how will the children be able to cope? Did you have any those kind of challenges that early?
Not exactly. I just enjoyed it.
So everything was a positive for you?
Yes.
Oh, that's
it
nice.
was obviously, yes, you have your bad days and good days.
True.
But on and whole, if I look at it, that was one of the best times of my childhood. A lot of memories, a lot of outdoors. So every peak that is there in and around Mount Abu, we have climbed. We used to have hikes for 2.5 hours twice a week.
Okay.
We had a dam right next to our school. I learned swimming, I learned fishing, I learned crabbing. Just the experience I don't think any city kid will ever experience.
Is it? Okay. I've been a couple of times but never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Interesting. The next time I'm in Mount Abu, I'm definitely going to think about you.
True. Please do. And let me know if you're going. I
will.
Connect to some of my classmates who have hotels there.
Okay, great. And then how's the printing thing come to you?
So after that, once I finished school, I got into college. Somewhere around this time, my dad was having a tough time.
Okay.
And he had glaucoma and he lost a good deal of his eyesight.
Acha.
This all happened while I was in school.
Okay.
And by the time I came back, I knew I had to take commerce because my dad was a technical person. He had a science background. And if at all he had any challenges in business, it was in the commercial aspects, in the compliance aspects, and that influenced me a lot to take commerce. Though I also have a technical kind of a mindset,
I'm sure.
But I took commerce because I wanted to help him.
You really chose commerce to be in business.
Yes.
Okay. So you always wanted to be in business.
Yes.
Okay.
But because dad was struggling, there was also this sort of a disillusionment where I wanted to do my own thing.
But you were never scared of business, house business, and
I was. We will come to that in some time.
Okay.
But that would come like after college. But during that time I really wanted to do something, and we are pre-millennials, so IT was the big thing at that time. We were talking about the millennium bug, and it was a big thing. And I sort of, along with my college, did a GNIT course where I did a lot of programming, and I got introduced to the whole world of computers.
Okay.
And that was my backup. That was the thing I would do, or that's what I wanted to do rather. But in post-graduation, once I finished, Dad still needed more help.
Okay.
And he was really struggling. So immediately after graduation, next day I was in office. No holidays, no break. So that Monday,
wow,
I was here and I started learning the business. Yes. Now we'll come to what you said earlier. Yes. So when I joined, a lot of apprehensions. One, because my only point of reference was Dad, where he had his own challenges health wise as well as business wise, and I didn't have any base or foundation to learn from, because we predominantly come from a community that is non-business oriented.
Correct.
So there had to be some kind of learning. Fortunately for me, 4 years after I joined, I did my MBA from SP Jain and the FMB course, and then we had this
family business, family managed business. Yes.
And then we had this whole bunch of peers in and around my age who were all facing the same challenges, the same apprehensions in life. All of us fresh, either joining a small business or taking over a large business from our parents.
Correct.
And all of us are, apprehensive whether we will
to manage or not.
Yes. And we'll be as good as our parents or not.
Correct.
and that gave me the confidence, that gave me the tools, that gave me the peer group to discuss challenges, share learnings. And yeah, it was one of the turning points, as well as my business acumen and business strategy and a lot of things that got shaped.
Superb. Thanks. I think we can just go on this point.
Yes.
It's very nice to know about your story. So I think with the logical next question would be, what does success mean to you, and how do you define success?
So success over a period of time, keeps changing. I suppose when you're young, it's all about career, money, education, maybe coming in the first, top 3 or top 10, either in studies or sport. And then after that, it would probably be, getting married and getting a house. And I think after all that is set, it would be then, more of, the Maslow's need hierarchy theory. You get into more esteem needs for success. But I think, looking back and having a wife who is part of the mental health industry, I think success means having and managing a well-balanced life.
Correct.
Where you're able to spend time both on yourself, with your family, as well as work, and nothing overwhelms, nothing takes too much time where you ignore any important area
in your life. So managing all the balls.
Yes, I think that would really, for me, would be success. Where I'm able to easily manage, and business is also growing, but I'm also able to give time to the other things that I want to do.
Yeah, quite well said.
Yes,
I think that's what it is, and that's what it should be. I think So going ahead, I think the next important question would be, what is failures? Have you faced failures? What failures mean to you? Something about that. I think our viewers would be very keen in knowing about failures, because many of them face. And what's your thing, and something you could share?
Okay, now I have to go back. I have to think a bit. Obviously, I had a very nice childhood, and including my up to schooling, college was pretty relaxed. I wouldn't say there were any failures till that stage. I joined business. When I joined business, things were tough because of my dad's illness. There was a lot of cleaning up and a lot of areas that required attention, which because of his health he couldn't manage. And I had relatively quick success, managing and cleaning up and getting the company back onto, say, profitability. Also, we started on a road to expansion and modernization. When I started, it was just like a 500 square feet gala that we were operating from. In fact, when we were negotiating with various companies like Heidelberg and all for our equipment, we used to feel embarrassed to call them to the office. We used to meet outside at some restaurant or some hotel, and then speak to them about what we want to do and how we want to invest. The first challenge, I would say, the first major challenge came for us in 2008, when after several years, after 7 or 8 years of consistent growth at about 80% CAGR, things got to my head, and we did a lot of expansion, a lot of capex. I would say even personality wise, I thought I was indestructible. Probably comes with the age and and having consistent success. Little bit of probably arrogance also crept in. But that was the first humbling experience.
True.
Where
I can understand.
Where all the plans, whatever we did, whatever investments, nothing panned out. It was a time when we bought like 2 flexos, we invested in an offset manufacturing company, and we bought our first digital. All happened in a span of a year.
Achha.
So, and then the subprime crisis hit, and the whole world was in recession. Just after we did all this. Expansion.
You just got yourself into the crisis with all the expansion.
And then this was like, I think, 4 very long and tiring years of severe challenge and stress. It was also
4 years.
Yeah, 4 years. I would say right from end 2008, I would say almost 2009. And interestingly, I got married in January 2009. So, our marriage started off on a very tough note.
I can imagine.
And it was like a whole 4 years of challenge. It took us 4 years to get out of this cycle. But I would say it has made me much tougher, much more resilient, and much more humble in what I do, how I talk to people, how I interact, and also conservative in the way we expand and we run our business. you know. So in fact, if you rate COVID, I would rate the 2008 crisis bigger for me than COVID. COVID was nothing.
COVID was a cakewalk.
was just a cakewalk, yeah. So that's how tough and resilient that
those
phase
4 years
was.
were the most difficult for you.
Yeah, so it made me so resilient that COVID didn't have any
Did you ever feel that you would be able to pass this phase? Did you have any doubts on yourself?
Oh yes, lot of doubts, lot of stress. I remember I still tell anyone.
Any specific incidents if you can share for our viewers, if it's possible?
There are many instances, but what I will tell you is I'll talk about a symptom which I normally tell everyone. Is I was so stressed out that in the night, if a mosquito would sit on my hand and move a hair on my hand, I would get up from sleep. Not necessarily even bite me.
Acha.
It only had to sit.
Oh, okay.
On the hair on my hand.
You were that conscious.
I was that stressed and that tense.
And stressed, yeah.
Yeah. So, and obviously acidity and lot of things that I would like to talk about or mention.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say any specific instance because every day was a challenge. It was some days I didn't want to get up and come to work. I just wanted to stay at home. I didn't want to meet people. I didn't want to meet people I owed money to. Have the same conversation every morning.
Yeah, running a business can be a nightmare at times.
So yeah, it was that phase, and I wouldn't. I mean, I can think of maybe 20-30 instances throughout this. So I wouldn't want to talk about a specific instance, but I'll tell you the symptoms and the effects of all these.
Yeah. The effects of this. It was
yes. That would be, I think,
could be
more
disturbed to that extent.
Significant.
Yes.
And but like I still tell everyone, and it's also part of my belief. Bad times don't last, and even good times don't last.
Well said. I think that should be a takeaway for all the listeners here.
Yes. So even if you're doing good, you still need to be humble and let it not get to your head. And if things are bad, that also will be transitory. And
everything is transitory. It has to pass.
Yes.
If good times come, bad times are on its way. You should be ready.
So that I think would define that phase. I think would define my adult life.
Thanks. I appreciate you sharing your journey. It was nice on that part.
I can just want to add that it was also the time I got married. I had both my kids, and my wife. Began a long distance relationship because she was doing her MD in Mangalore.
Okay.
So it was all during this phase. This happened.
Okay. it making it all the more difficult.
Yes. So I used to shuttle to Mangalore. Plus the business was in doldrums. Also a time when my brother joined the business, so I started getting help from him. Dad was Dad had in fact sort of semi-retired. He came back, because it was so tough.
Yeah. I agree. Thanks for sharing. So, many people tell me this when I meet them for business otherwise, that they're not sure if printing industry was the right choice as profession. They feel that they haven't grown as much as they have could in terms of their ability and skill. So would you say your choice of profession was correct? Would you, if given an option, would you go and choose something else?
So yes, during that phase, the bad phase, there were a lot of thoughts that came in. In fact, even shutting everything down and moving abroad, and lots of self-doubt, that normally comes in. But it's also a time for reflection. It's a time when you sit down and you ask yourself what is going wrong, where you ask yourself 5 whys or whatever, and then suddenly you'll come to an answer. In our case, obviously it was finance, because all our problems were boiling down to not having enough funds. So then we set up upon a road to recovery, where we built enough of capital, enough of our own funds. We had done a lot of borrowing, and it had eroded our net worth. So we spent those 4 years building up our net worth. So during this phase when things are tough, you always like to question whether you're doing the right thing. But I think for our industry it really requires what I would like to call a mindset change.
Yes.
We accept things as they are. We are okay with our suppliers putting locks and credit locks on our accounts, or now the government also puts a lock on your account if you don't pay GST. But we are okay giving our customers unlimited credit. We are okay with letting our customers get away with, extended payment terms.
Taking us for a ride.
Exactly. So how does it work? I mean, why can't we not work like this? Why can't we think differently? And these are things that have defined the way we do things and everything. So it is just one example I'm giving you, but where it comes to, for us right now, it's where it comes to market selection, where it comes to the equipment that we put, whether it comes to the way we treat our people, the customer, the type of customer I want to work with. They all have to match, and they all have to be something different, and only then we would like to work with them. So if it's the same run-of-the-mill customer that is coming to us just for 1 paisa or 2 paisa reduction in price, we tell them upfront, look, you come to the wrong place. Don't come to us just for that. Come to us because you want something more than that, and we will work with you. We'll find a solution. We'll solve your problem. And every area that we work, we want to be different. We don't want to do what the industry is doing, which is one of the reasons why we were the first to put in a digital press, because we wanted to be different. Whether it worked or didn't work, that's a discussion for another day.
Denver, I must tell you, the question was something else, and you answer something else. But that tells that you are so passionate about this industry. No matter even if you were pushed into something else, you wouldn't go there. I think you are so passionate about the printing industry. I doubt you would ever want to be in some other area or industry.
Yes. So passion is also part of. If you go to our website, passion defines what all we do. It centers around our entire organization. Whether it's technology, whether it's print, whether it's giving solutions, passion is the center of it. And everything stems from there. But long story short, our way of dealing with the problems in the industry is to always be different, always innovate, and outthink the market as well as the customer. Just to be very brief.
I get the point, and I'm sure our viewers have also understood that for Denver it's nothing but the print industry. The next obvious question would be, what are the myths about the printing industry? What do people feel कि ये बहुत आसान है, you just kind of switch on a button and you start printing, or it's very difficult? So what are your views about it? What are the myths?
So I tell almost anyone who joins us as a fresher in whichever post they are in, and especially those who are coming from non-printing background, I'll tell them, look, the print industry is highly technical in nature, but it's not rocket science. So if you want to look at it in terms of maths, there's addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. But there's definitely no integration and derivatives.
Calculus.
There's no calculus. So you need to be a little technical. You cannot say that, I'm going to be zero in this. Or
willing to learn.
You need to be willing to learn. There is a huge learning curve that needs to happen in terms of applications and what packaging can do for you or the customer or the industry. And you need to learn these things. And I think this is one of the things that we want to solve, that packaging is very complex. There is also another myth where, people think that if we are in commercial, we can easily make a shift to say packaging, or if I am in packaging, I can easily make a shift to printing books or whatever.
It's not that easy.
It's not that easy. I think you need to be an entrepreneur at heart to make these shifts. But if someone is an entrepreneur at heart, you give them any business, they will run it.
They'll be able to run it. True.
So you need to be like that.
You can just wake up one morning and switch industry.
Exactly.
You'll have to understand the basic tenets in which that segment works. Correct.
So I think this is one of the myths. It can be tackled, but again, I say it's not everyone's cup of tea. Someone has to be a true entrepreneur to make this shift, or to diversify into another area. Another myth would be that the industry is struggling, there's price competition. Yes, it does exist. But I think you can take a call. Again, I get a lot of learning from my wife, who's a psychiatrist, and she tells me, focus on things that you can change or what's in your control, rather than things which are not in my control.
Circle of influence?
Yes, circle of influence, circle of control. In fact, that book is right up there, Stephen Covey. It's part
of your reading habit.
My office library.
Nice.
And so what can we change? What is in our control? Selection of customers is in our control. Selection of the credit period we want to give is in our control. Margins are in our control. If we select the right customer. If we select the wrong customer, then obviously margin is not in our control. Giving solutions, being innovative, everything is in our control. So I think if you focus on these things, definitely there is.
Print industry has a lot of scope.
Yes.
So you bet big on printing industry.
Yes.
Totally.
Yes, definitely. There is a silver
Till the
lining.
last penny.
yes.
Great.
Yeah,
Thanks.
but I would say, I would bet on our innovation, and I would bet on our wanting to think out of the box that will get us out of any situation.
Sure. That's nice. So, can you share your work schedule? How do you start your day? How many hours you spend, and what generally do you do on a regular working day, average working day?
So I get up by around 7:30 in the morning.
Okay.
Sometimes a bit earlier, depends on how much my kids trouble me in the morning, or how noisy they are while they're getting ready for school.
Okay.
I have my normal morning routines, and I leave house by around, say, sometimes 9:45, sometimes 10.
Okay.
But by around 10:15, max 10:20, I'm in office, and I'm in office till about maybe 6:30.
Okay.
Because once I leave at 6:30, I reach home by 7.
I think you stay close by.
I stay very
that
close
should be
by. Yeah.
Not a lot of traveling.
So I don't think I reach home post 7.
So you're not like a late in the office and start very early at work. You're relatively balanced.
Yes.
I think you
Yes.
got a pretty good balance there then.
Yes.
In that case.
So I spend my mornings reading. I do a lot of reading.
Oh, that's nice.
A lot of current affairs is what I do.
That's not something was a part of what I was going to ask you, but that's something even very close to my heart about reading. So do you think reading has helped you in your journey?
Yes. So especially current affairs and what's happening with the world, it enables me make a pattern. To some extent, we can predict what's going to happen. So when sufficient reading is done, you can take all the data that's coming in from different sources, be it finance, be it regulation,
Correct.
Be it environmental or recession or whatever.
Correct. We become more aware.
And then you accumulate all this, you analyze all this, and you can to some extent predict certain patterns that will happen.
Or at least we are more prepared. If something is coming towards you, you are more prepared.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think I totally agree, and I'm totally on that on page with you on that.
So this is something that's very, very critical to me. In fact, I think I put on about 2 hours every day.
Wow, that's
whether
nice.
It's in the morning or maybe before going to sleep in the night, but I do read a lot.
Okay, that's nice. So what else do you do to unwind? I mean, any kind of sport, like any other activity, physical activity, something else, something that you want to share with us?
So I try to be as active as possible. I do a bit of walking, running. I do go to the gym off and on. I have realized that gym for me should happen in the morning, but post corona it's been a challenge to get up in the morning. But I'm slowly trying to come back to that routine. And I love building Lego. So that's
I can see some Legos here.
Yes. In fact, a lot more to come.
Okay.
So I am an adult fan of Legos. We actually call ourselves AOFLs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is it?
I'm part of some WhatsApp groups and things like that.
Oh, superb. Is that a de-stressing?
It's very de-stressing. It's you basically it gives you that time when you don't give instructions, you follow instructions. It's a good way to unwind.
Okay.
At the end of the day.
Okay, I'm sure our team here is going to make this into a short to let the world know how Denver unwinds after work. That's nice.
And obviously the another thing I do is my kids. I try and spend post work. In the morning it's very hectic. They're very busy getting ready to go to school. So once I go home, there's a good 45-minute to 1 hour slot where I spend with the kids discussing their day, and I tell them about my day.
That's nice.
That's something that has to happen every day.
That's nice. That's very good.
I also take regular breaks. So almost every month we do a short break.
Very good. Very nice.
2 days, 3 days.
Oh, that's nice. It helps unwind, I'm sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, because many people have this notion that no, I should not be at work. I'm sorry, I should be at work and I should not be taking breaks. I'm doing injustice to my organization. I mean, I think it will be a good perspective for those people to keep taking breaks to rejuvenate yourself.
So because of the mental health background that is there in our family, because of my wife, we are very aware of these things. So the moment we feel stressed, we are aware that things are and it instantly shows. So instantly she'll tell me, look, you're getting hot tempered, or this is not done. So very sensitive to the whole thing.
Yeah, I can understand. I can imagine. I'm sure it would be a lot of facing the mirror on a daily or a regular basis. So delving a little towards your business, so what is a major challenge that you're facing currently and how are you tackling it, if you can share?
So currently, I mean, I'm in a very good position. The challenge I'm actually facing right now is managing the growth that we have faced,
Sure.
which is a good challenge to have.
Yeah.
So we are now, the systems and processes and the workflows that we have designed probably can handle to this extent that we currently operating at.
Okay.
So now what we're doing is we've gone back again into system design, and our goal is now to design systems that will do roughly 10 times this.
Wow, that's nice. So you're recalibrating things at this stage.
Yes.
That's nice.
That's what we are currently working on. That's what's
All that is written on the boards here.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That's what's happening.
That's good. So moving ahead, have there been people in terms of who have helped you in your journey, mentors or some groups, some associations? You mentioned your wife a couple of times. I'm sure she's been a great help for you. But anything on that front which you would like to share with us?
Sure. So let's go right back. So the first thing I said obviously was my boarding school that did a lot of formation about who I am today, my resilience. Then it would be couple of teachers during college. Obviously my stint at SPJN and my teachers and professors there, a lot of them inspired us, especially in terms of marketing and operations. And today with the position that we are in, a lot of the stuff that our teachers taught us then now makes sense. When they said that make the competition irrelevant or operate from a position of strength, we thought you're joking. How can we
how
do
is it
that?
even possible?
Yes, how is it possible? But today I'm a witness to that. In the industry, so the first person that who was my mentor was Mr. Vijay Parekh. At that time he was with Heidelberg.
Okay.
And in fact he gave me some books to read. He gave me his first project that he did on Flexo, and I still consider him to be my my mentor where Flexo printing is concerned. Thereafter I met Mr. Ajay Rawrani, who was with HP. So he was my mentor, and we sort of grew in the digital space.
Yeah, Ajay's
together.
been a good friend. Yeah, nice fellow.
Yeah, he's with Domino now, but he still is a very good friend, and he's a very good sounding board for me. So whenever I have doubts of what I'm doing, and he has seen my journey both during the 2008 phase.
Okay.
And he's seeing it now, and so he has been with me during this journey, and a lot of personal inputs, a lot of insightful learnings that he has sort of told me, and then enabled me to do certain course corrections and things like that.
Okay.
After this phase would be we did a course called Transganization, which was run by a guy called Rohit Arora.
Okay.
And this was very important because this aligned me and my brother and aligned our goals with the company goals, and first and foremost it got us aligned with each other.
Okay.
And then our alignment was then aligned to the company's goals and requirements, or rather our goals were implemented on what the company should do. And because we did this today, we have such an amazing connect that I could be in the US and he could be in India, and we would be thinking about the same thing at the same time.
Wow.
Or it will be some new product that he had seen when he was there, and I'm seeing the same product and we are talking about the same thing.
Wow.
And it's very uncanny. So sometimes it surprises us also. It's
Sorry,
just
I'm
crazy.
Going a little deeper there. What's that?
So it happens regularly. I'll give you one example.
No. What was the course in terms of that got you to connect with your brother?
So Rohit, the founder, calls it Transganization.
Transganization. Okay, Transganization.
Yeah. Obviously, there are a lot of people in the industry doing similar things. They call it different things.
Okay.
But I think where Rohit makes the difference would be the alignment.
Okay.
So getting all family members, getting everyone on the same page, on the same platform.
Okay.
Is something that they specialize in.
Very nice. I'm sure a lot of people who have their siblings or their family members in the business would like to consider this, meet Rohit or people like them who are in this space and who can help them align their business. And anyone else you would want to name who has been part of your journey?
Obviously, my dad, my brother.
Yeah, I'm sure. Janus
he's
a lucky charm.
He has been like a pillar of support. And a lot of people tell me, you guys are lucky you have each other. And yes, we are.
I'm sure. I always have thought that.
So in fact, right now he's on holiday and I'm here. Before this, I was on holiday and he was at work. So it enables us to maintain a fair degree of consistency and management in the place. And I'm hoping that we are able to translate this into the next generation also. So our kids get aligned in a similar fashion.
I'm sure. So moving ahead, next question would be, what are the common things people struggle with in the industry? Like, some people talk about people, some talk about cash flow. What do you think people generally struggle with in the printing industry, or they should be aware of?
So for a very long time, whenever I would attend events like LMAI or different industries coming, even when I was in SPJN and a lot of my classmates and friends would discuss in class, there would be a lot of negativity about how difficult running a business is, whether it's the government, whether it's regulations, whether it's customers, whether it's profitability, whether it's cash.
True.
So there is always something to cry about.
Right.
And I remember that time, our sir would say, like, an entrepreneur is one of the most positive people on the planet, who's always, thinking, and it can border around gambling sometimes. But an entrepreneur always has to be positive, always has to see the good and something, see the good in something.
Right.
Otherwise, there will be no industry, no innovation, no hiring. So coming back to our industry, yes, there's always something to cry about. Obviously, payment terms and customers and price increases have been the biggest
people struggle with.
Struggle.
I think raw material has been a big issue, I guess.
And that is something that has really affected the industry in the last 2 years.
True.
Fortunately, I think in India we are not yet reached a level where we don't have people to work, or we have a labor issue.
Yes.
Okay. But yes, finding good people is a challenge, and I think this can easily be remedied through training. For us, as a policy, we always have 1 or 2 people extra in certain processes or certain departments where we feel which is critical.
That's nice.
Or a backup.
That's nice.
Because this helps. Digital printing, my operators for one are trained in-house.
Okay.
I'm always training one operator. So even if one person leaves and goes, even in Flexo we will have a few extra operators. I know it's a cost, but in the long run it doesn't matter. I think this is a problem we ourselves can solve by simply training, having 1 or 2 extra people on staff.
So, Denver, I've heard this rule called 1.5 rule as far as people are concerned. So have 1.5 people in every position, so that you're never stuck with anyone leaving it. He just doesn't pick up the call, or he sends a message that he's not coming to work.
Yes.
So you have the second person as a standby who can take over. I don't know if that applies. But
this is something that we do.
Okay, that's nice.
So especially in areas, obviously in management areas we can't have backup. So there if you would have someone leaving, it would be a challenge.
There people are more professional. We still have a lot of people in the mid level and the lower level who form the chunk of the people.
Correct. So, but I predict that as time goes by, at least for the lowest level jobs, we will start having challenges.
You see that?
Yes,
I foresee that can be
I foresee that.
And how many years?
See, how long is anyone's guess? But I would give it a frame of 5 to 10 years.
You see automation?
It's already happening. Because right now for jobs that say that are paying around 10 to 12,000 rupees, people would prefer to work in a mall because they have a nice AC environment.
Right.
And they would go to the retail stores over there and be a retail assistant or something like that.
Right.
It's a very different environment. They are dealing with well-dressed people, and it's not a shop floor, not a blue-collar activity per se.
Correct.
So we are losing a lot of that level, staff or workers to malls and offices, which are operating in very nice environments.
Yeah. And thanks for sharing those points. I'm sure it will be helpful for our listeners. So coming to the next question, what is the most memorable event in your life?
Obviously the day that I got married. And the next one which would be very close, would be the day my daughter was born.
Okay.
And I had held that little pink ball in my hands.
How sweet.
And there are a couple of things, I can just go back, and the first time she recognized me, because we had this long distance relationship, because she was in Mangalore.
Okay.
And I was here.
She delivered in Mangalore?
She delivered in Bombay, but she was for the first year the child has to be with the mother, right?
Right.
So it was a distance for me to travel.
True.
daughter was with my mother, and I think it would be about 6 months post delivery. When my daughter would be about 6 months old.
Yeah.
And I visited Mangalore, and I went by train, and I was all filthy because of or probably dirty because of the traveling in the train.
Yeah.
And I went and I saw her, and she was awake, and then she's the first time she recognized me, and immediately her hands went up and said, carry me. And I didn't carry her because I was dirty.
Yeah.
And she started crying, so you carry me. I want you to carry me.
I'm sure that might be an emotional moment.
So that I still remember that very vividly today. But there are these things. But you can see it's all about family, and
I'm sure you're a family man.
And not so much about work.
Work success. I respect that, and that's important. I mean, whatever we are doing at work, that 8-10 hours that we spend at work is all for our family.
True.
So this is the reality, but it's all about our family. If we cannot do it for them, then it doesn't really count. So Denver, what's the legacy that you would like to leave behind? What would Denver be wanted to be remembered as or for?
So obviously we are known as the pioneers in industrial digital printing in India. So professionally, that's the legacy that I would really love to be associated with, someone who began industrial digital printing in the country. Obviously players will come after this, and there would be people who are probably more successful than us. It's all part and parcel of being in the industry.
That's true.
And the way we run our plant, systems, processes, I want to be known for that. Want to benchmark global standards.
Yeah, I remember you talking to me about your systems and process before we started this session. Yeah, I think that's something not many people would have.
Yeah, so that's something also that I would like to leave behind as a legacy. And the proof of the pudding would be if other kids, the next generation joins.
And takes.
That would be the proof that we have succeeded in giving them something that is worth their time and energy at that point of time.
Well said. Yeah, actually the next generation feels it worthy enough to be a part of the business, because I think the generation here, they are well taken care of in terms of the basic necessities. Exactly. And then they would decide whether they want to be a part of the dad's business, because they're so intelligent, they can probably run their own business.
So this is another thing that I had attended a BMP event sometime in July.
Okay.
And this was one of the questions over there, as to how would you get the next generation to join the business. And I look back on my experience, and saw myself coming in. I'm evaluating the situation currently with this generation. So you need to understand firstly that for our generation, for our kids, there is no urgency for them to start work.
Correct.
Simply because their parents are doing really well.
Taken care of.
Okay, so they can easily start work 4 years, 5 years post graduation.
True.
So they have all the time in the world to do their own thing.
Correct.
Okay, so there's no urgency to come and help. I had to join the business immediately because I had to help my dad.
True.
And I'm sure a lot of people in and around my age will understand this.
Yes.
This is something which is very critical for our generation to understand.
Yes.
Because if you do not give them something that is worth their time, their money, their energy, because they could probably go out and earn
much
3 times more than what you would pay them.
Sure.
Or what the business could give
going
them.
To pay them.
So you need to get a business that is up and running to that level, which is worth their time and energy.
Well
where the opportunity in the business is more than what they would get outside. And that will happen only
the opportunity cost has to be much more.
And that will happen only if you make consistent investments.
Correct.
In the business, and not divert what we discussed.
Yes. We were discussing offline that many of the people have moved their funds out of the business. I mean, that's a way of looking at it. There's nothing bad, but then that's the way some people would want to run their business. Yeah.
True.
Yeah. So moving ahead, what would be one piece of advice you would give to people who want to come in as they want to have their career in the printing industry, either starting a business or as an employee? What would be one piece of advice if you have for them?
So obviously the biggest mantra for both Janus and myself has been to think out of the box and be different. Okay, initially we probably didn't have the funds, or we were firefighting is the right word to put it. I won't say we didn't have the funds. So we were busy firefighting, solving problems rather than looking at opportunities. So being different. And something that I really realized during the shutdown, and a lot of people that gave talks during the shutdown and post the shutdown, was they kept talking about what they did during the shutdown and how they probably launched a new product, or they some big problem that was pending for 10 years or 5 years, they finally had time to sit on it, and they probably solved it, and now they're making money because of it.
Right.
So again, people look at the story, but what is the process?
Correct.
The process is very simple. They just took time off from their day-to-day work, and they had time to think, and they came up with solutions, and they implemented it. It's just that. So we don't take time off to chill. We don't take time off. We are stuck in our day-to-day firefighting. Therefore, we can't innovate. Therefore, we are stuck with the same customers, with the same problems that are there in the industry.
Correct.
So I would say, take a break. Give yourself a break. Switch off. Put your mobile off. Put your laptop off. Take like 5 days, 6 days, every 2 months, 3 months, and see the ideas that come to your mind when you're switched off, and come back and implement it and try and be different. Is what I would say.
Make an identity for yourself. Yes. Just don't follow the crowd.
Yes.
Avoid the herd mentality.
Exactly. And the moment you do the herd mentality, you're going to start crying.
Right. Totally. I totally agree with what you said. I mean, that's a great point. Thanks for that. We're moving towards the last few questions of our podcast. So, what's the goal? I mean, you're young. You have 2 to 3 decades left ahead of you. So, where do you see yourself? What is it that Denver, or even Denver and Janus together, and Janus International, where do you see yourself? What is it that your goal is?
So, it's a very tough question, and the reason I'm saying it's a tough question is because we base our goals on where we are today. I'll give you an example. About 2016-2017, we started working on our systems to handle 1,000 customers. Now, you'll ask me why 1,000 customers? Because, we had about 5 or 6 customers that was giving us about 99% of our revenues. In fact, not 5 or 6, but I would say 2 customers giving us 99% of our revenues. And for us, we analyzed and we assessed that, look, if we want to de-risk our business, we need to add more customers. So we started designing and implementing systems to handle 1,000 customers. Now, obviously, that time, 1,000 was some goal that was probably, in my mind, I thought it'll take me 10 years to reach, or it'll take me, 15 years to reach. But we have achieved it this year.
Nice.
And now we are trying to design systems, like I said, will be 10,000 or maybe more than that. And I don't know, for me right now it would be something that I would take 10 years to do, but I could do it in 4 or 5, and then my goal will change again. But the point is, I always want to be seen as a company that is cutting edge, innovative. And for me, as long as we maintain that, and that innovation goes right down to my security staff at the gate, I think we have achieved what we want to
set out for.
Yes. And I'm seeing this now. Because we have begun the transition into training the second rung, the supervisors and the managers into this innovative process, and a couple of them have really given us good solutions, good answers, and it's a process we are currently working on.
That's very nice. Thanks for sharing. I have the last 2 questions, and they are questions more for us than for answers from you. So we would want to know from you about Ink Stories, this concept of podcast for the print industry. What do you think? What are your views?
So I think it's a brilliant idea. In India per se, it is not there, but if you look at it from like I mentioned earlier, I am part of DScoop. It's very much there on all the DScoop platforms. We have a lot of content in terms of videos as well as podcast, training programs, productivity at different levels, right? From supervisor to the manager to the operator, there's content.
Wow.
But I think it's a good start in India. Maybe, again, with my DScoop experience, language will be the next frontier where there will be some demand to translate. We're looking forward
for many more regional sessions, Hindi and even regional sessions. With the languages that I can speak at least. And then with English subtitles. So
this is something that we are currently facing at DScoop. So where we are localizing the content.
Yes.
And there are now softwares that do that.
Yes. So any specific advice you would want us to do this better, something?
I don't know. My personal challenge would be finding time to listen to this, or slotting this as a habit where I listen to these podcasts. So somehow podcasts have been like maybe entertaining in nature, not so much informative in nature.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's a journey. Maybe because of my age, I'm not able to relate. But maybe the millennials or a younger generation will probably relate to it.
Yeah. Answering to that point where you said, we have people from the printing industry listening to the podcast. So we always were in this apprehension. So, there's this concept of Instagram stories and YouTube shorts and all these stories that comes, the reels that come. So the whole idea is, probably people don't have to spend the entire 1 hour listening to the podcast. They could just take glimpses of 30 seconds and 60 seconds, which we'll have in as YouTube shorts or smaller reels for people to listen to, and pick the interesting things for them and leave the rest. We just hope that people find it interesting.
Yes, I think that is a good idea.
Yeah.
Because people's attention span
these days are much less.
So having like a 30-second or a 2-minute video would,
Well, let's see. I mean, this is the start for us. We are new into this in terms of trying to connect the print industry, trying to bring the human side. It's not only about the machines. We are not machines. Yeah,
exactly.
we use the machines to give a good life for our families, our respective families. The whole idea is to bring the human in us and share that with the larger world. That's the larger idea of Ink Stories, and hope we are able to achieve that goal.
So this reminds me of one more thing that I would like to share. You said the word human. I said, most of us forget. I mean, when we talk about finance, we talk about the equipment we have. But the next thing that we need to talk about and focus on are our people.
Right.
Because that is one of the key areas which can make or break your company, your strategy,
True.
your culture, and it's people who drive this.
Yeah.
And it's a focus area that company should have.
I've had this adage that goes with me always, or when I speak to my team. A company is only as good as its team. If your team is strong, your company is strong. If your team is bad, you're gone.
True. I agree with you 110%.
Yeah. Denver, the last question for you is, we wanted to know about Denver, his journey. I've known you for 18 years. Is there someone whom you would want to hear about their personal side, someone who you have looked up to, or someone whom you have been inspired by, someone you would want to know about their stories?
So there are a few people in the industry that I can think of. It would be the Gautam and Bhavin Kotaris.
Interlabels. Okay.
Obviously, Hyderabad, Pragati, Hemant Pachuri.
Yes.
Maybe his father, or maybe Hemant himself.
Yes.
I think these are people we would love to hear from. Parsons, all the big TCPLs, Parsons.
Yeah, sure.
The founders, and maybe even Gautam Pai also, if possible.
Yeah, why not?
Manipal.
Yeah. Why not?
So there's so many people we could.
Sure. We would reach out to these people as well as we move out in this journey. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for your time, Denver. It was wonderful. I just can't tell you. In fact, having known you for 18 years, I never knew so much about you. I didn't know about the Lego. I didn't know about the time that you spent with your daughter, though. And I also spent. I thought I was the only father who was doing that. So nice to know that. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for your time.
Sujit.
Thanks again.
Thanks for having me as a guest on your show.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.